Wanyoke last weekend, and he said about to be all inclusive. It's not just for one people. It's not for the super athletes. It's not for the guys who are fitness freaks like Bernard. It's for everyone involved. And that's why we've got another lady, started an all-girl team, like all powerful team. And you can understand why listening to Joyce had a girl child and how to support her. So Iram, you are also involved in Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon, and you're involved in inclusivity. What does that mean? What does the title of what you do mean? Because it sounds very, very deep.
Really?
Yes, sounds like it's important things we do in society.
Well, it's ensuring that nobody's left behind, and the people who are left behind the highest persons with disabilities. Persons with disabilities are the largest minority globally, and ensuring that they're not left behind within the marathon, in employment, economic opportunities is basically what I do. I'd like for them.
What drove you there? What's the why? Why do you do it?
Wow. I think why is simply because it's a club that's open for everybody. I could potentially join that club, right? So just thinking about what opportunity in case I join that club is why I do it. Also seeing people out there who have great potential, great capabilities, and being left behind simply because of the stigma that comes across when they're being raised, or the community and society leaving them is why I really do it.
Iram, help us understand, because you say it's inclusivity. Break it down. What categories are we looking at? Because I know there's people with learning disabilities. Help us understand exactly.
So when you look at disabilities, it's a number of disabilities, right? We're looking at the visible disabilities and invisible disabilities. Interesting, invisible disabilities make up 80% of persons with disabilities. 80%. And so we're looking at learning disabilities, visual impairment, hearing impairment, speech impairment, cognitive, intellectual, psychosocial. It's quite a large spectrum of impairments. And we only get to disability because of the barriers we face. So if we're looking at the marathon, we've walked that journey with the marathon team to ensure that all these barriers are sort of reduced or eliminated in totality, so that participants with disabilities can actually run and experience the marathon to the full capacity.
And how do you accommodate them? Because I can imagine of course that requires some special kind of arrangement, especially.
Okay, so the different things. If you're looking at, for example, for the marathon, it's training the people who are going to interact with persons with disabilities, the participants out there, training them on how to interact with them, what is the right language to use, what is the right etiquette, having accessible bathrooms, ensuring that we have spaces that accommodate them. So if it's the ramps, if it is the advertisements, if you've looked at the advertisements now going out, we also have some that are including persons with disabilities. So it's natural branding to pull out the crowd, this time around we've got a huge number of participants with disabilities, over 200, and all organic.
Joyce, how important is it for the race and the bank to be that inclusive?
It's very important because we support persons with disabilities through our Future Makers program. So as Iram mentioned, this year it's very unique. One, we've gotten really high numbers with participants who registered for the persons with disabilities races. Quite huge. Last year it was roughly 150, 100. This year it's over 200. And what I can say is we work very closely with Iram through her organization, Light of the World. And on top of that, we also worked closely with APDK. We got feedback from them in terms of how do we accommodate and ensure everyone is included in the right way. I'll give you an example. The people who do the wheelchair race, they use their hands. But what used to happen is, as they're doing that to their bib, the bib used to get torn because of, the friction. So we got for them nice camel bags, so their camel bags will be behind. Then you'll see that's why they'll put their bibs. That is feedback we got. We'd never have known if we didn't socialize with them. So one thing I've learned is just feedback is so important, and just being able to listen to everyone and making sure you have an inclusive marathon. Another one that's really, very simple. There's very many mothers who come for the race, and they come with, what are they called? Prams or baggies for their children. Some of them, guess what? They're breastfeeding, but there was nothing on the route at all or even in our village. This year's marathon, we are accommodating. There's going to be a mother center on the route as well as at the village. So it's being inclusive, making sure everyone is accommodated for. And for me, that's so impactful because it's the power of our Future Makers program that's now enabling us to have an inclusive marathon.
You know, Kabi, what's interesting is that Future Makers, it reminds me of foresight. Because bottom line, if you think about it, it's a level of foresight, anticipating, because you can imagine being accommodative for people who are able differently, for mothers as well. It ties in quite well.
Yes, and especially in the age that we live in, Joyce, because we live in an age where we are saying everyone must be in the same boat moving forward.
Exactly. Even, if someone is autistic and you're young, how do you accommodate it? How do you make sure it's different? A person who's autistic. If someone is blind, how do you accommodate? There are so many things that you have to take to incorporate. But what we are saying is we've started the journey. Are we there fully? No. It's going to be a year of incremental change to make sure that everyone is included.